All right. Hi, my name is John Grimson, and in this video, I wanted to take you behind the scenes in how I helped produce and edit the video for the Tennessee Youth Symphony for their 2020 lockup COVID virtual concert with everybody in isolation. The end of the year season had to be canceled, unfortunately, because hearing the kids play, I don't know, I believe there's 70 or 80, maybe more in the symphony. But I believe we had 70 or 80 kids here participating. It's a little bit of a guess, but that sounds about right. Anyway, of course, to see and hear them in a live setting in a big hall is a great experience. They sound wonderful. They're excellent musicians, all of them. But to do something in a virtual manner, which we've all seen lots of pop groups, smaller, 4-piece, 5-piece, maybe some jazz ensembles, put similar type of virtual performances together. But something really poses a problem for classical musicians, and that is there's no effective way to play live and in sync over a Zoom call or something like that. Nobody can do that. The audio does not stay synced up to the picture, so there's no way everybody would be synchronized in an actual attempt to do it live on a Zoom call. So that just doesn't work across the boards. So what most of the rock and pop musicians are doing is they kind of have it's fairly easy to do because it's very similar to how they do tracking and overdub sessions in a regular recording session. They're playing to a guide track, they're playing to a click track, or what we would call a scratch track, which might just be rhythm section playing along, and then the vocalist may sing their part just to help the band. Then they'll come back and replace all their parts individually later on and really hone in and make them precise. So, and that's commonly done all the time pre-COVID lockdown, with musicians sending off tracks with click tracks. So that's how they do that. Classical musicians can't do it that way. And one reason is they are used to performing as they read music with an eye on the conductor who is guiding the tempo. The other thing about classical music is it often has tempo changes, intentional, extreme, sometimes extreme tempo changes, and the conductor is marking the time visually. That's what a conductor does. And that's what the kids are used to. Most of them are not used to a recording session environment, playing a click track and overdubbing parts or any of that stuff that rock and pop musicians do routinely. So this was really a challenge to have to solve before we really started off with the kids playing their parts and recording their parts. And it was a lot more complicated than it might first seem, and I want to show you why. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch to my edit screen so you can watch in my edit program, Premiere Pro, how I put this together and how I planned it in advance with Anna Maria Miller to set up a way that the kids could see her conducting, hear a count-off click to start that everybody prepared them to be ready, and there was a track from the Berlin Philharmonic playing along so that they had the feeling, the goal being to replicate an actual live performance concert situation for the kids. That's as close as we could get, and but to give them that experience as they were tracking their part. It required 2 cameras on each of the kids' part, or taking a camera and flipping it down and putting it on their music stand. And I'll show you what I mean here. But we had to start off by providing a video of Miss Miller conducting with the cue points, and I had visual cue markers up front so that I could sync up the individual clips from all the musicians. So let's take a look at the edit screen here. First off, I just popped my insert picture in there, so I'm up in the upper right hand corner. That is not part of the edit session. But over here is the video that we made in advance of Miss Miller. And this little window that I'm pushing my mouse pointer around on is simply to show the kids in the video what they have to do. So I'll show this to you. Now, she uses 2 cameras, which is fine. But she's simply showing what the main screen is doing back with her iPad. And all these points are reference points. So now she's put it down. There's the first click markers. She's put it down on her music stand, and now she's getting ready to conduct. Okay, so that's what the kids heard, and that's what the kids were using. And so that's what they heard in their earpieces. And I needed all these sync points for various reasons. We did not have any idea what iPhones or cell phones or webcams or iPads anybody was going to use to do this. The other challenge is, and most people don't know this because it doesn't matter, is that cell phones record in variable frame rates, which is fine for storage on a phone. It doesn't go, the audio and video won't go out of sync with itself, and it's done for storage reasons to make smallest file possible. But when you go into an edit session, and you're trying to line up multiple tracks of video that's all at different frame rates, what happens is things can easily get pushed out of sync over time. So what you're now looking at here, this happens to be the viola section. We had 4 violas participating. And I had synced this all underneath, which were hidden in the final track. Miss Miller's, and why aren't we seeing it? Where is it? Anyway, there we go. Okay, so what I did was I synced everything up. This little window here is what you saw a few minutes ago. Okay, and now I'm going to bring in, so I scaled and sized the kids, and every section was different depending on how many musicians there were. And it was kind of a random thing, but I was sort of trying to organize them. The whole symphony, sort of how their sections are laid out, but it didn't really work out 100% correctly. Anyway, so I synced everybody up to the same points. Here they are showing their phones. And I had to mark it at the beginning, get them all synced up. But because every phone runs a little differently, by the time they get to the end of the song, things could have drifted out of sync. So what I also had to do was line things up with audio waveforms, you know, so that everything sounded in sync. And that's a little bit of a juggling. Unfortunately, these are shorter pieces, so it did not become a huge issue. If it would be like 5 minutes or more, things would definitely go out of sync, and that would be noticeable. So anyway, back to explaining how this worked. Here's one section. These are the violas. So that's what their section looked like, and I'll pull up another one here. And over here you see clarinets. Here are the basses. And then we have the first violins, second violins, and there were, I think, 15 of each. So that they were grouped in sections. So anyway, what I then did, the other issue I had to address is the fact that is the fact that I can't edit and mix 80, well, even probably the maximum would be 10 or 12 video streams simultaneously. No edit system can handle that. So what I had to do is create these sections as submix groups, or stems they are called sometimes, and do them as groups. It's the only way I can handle it. And then take the groups and place them and organize them together and mix from there. So what I also did at the submix section here was to mix the audio. So the audio had to be mixed here, and that's what I did, so that every submix group, every section sounded good as a section before I mixed them together as the entire symphony. So this may be more detailed than people care about, but it'll be interesting, hopefully, to some, and a bit of an education as to how to tackle a project like this with classical musicians. So everything then had to be bounced out as stems. I'll use that term, that's recording industry term. And it basically means subsets, sections. So we had viola stems, we had first violin stems, we had bass, bassoon, cellos, clarinet, tubas, oboes, percussion, French horn, and created the entire group. And here's what that looks like, organized with all the musicians, roughly, should see this, there we go, roughly where they'd be laid out, but not really, because I just geometrically couldn't get it to work, and we had various musicians sending in their clips a little later, had to redo a couple parts, so I had to just do the best I could, and I still think it came out pretty cool. So that's what it looks like. And once again, here I have all the sections. So I had, at the end, 14 sections, 14 video streams as sections. And then these all had to be synced and lined up both by audio and visual. And it worked out pretty well ultimately, but this was really the only way I could come up with to tackle this, and really the only way that I could see putting something this complicated together while giving the players the best shot at performing and doing their parts. When you watch the entire video, you'll also notice I did little feature sections. The first part of the piece, Nabucco, features the trombones and tuba. So you see them pretty well. The rest of the time, you can't really see them, the rest of the kids. So I wanted to give them each a feature section towards the end. And that's what I did, quickly scrolling by. When you watch the video, you'll see that. So anyway, I hope you find that informative, and when you watch the video, you'll understand better how this was put together. Who knows? Maybe there's a easier, better way to do it with a classical symphony. I don't know one, and I think this worked out as best as possible. It sounds pretty good. The kids sound pretty good. It's not the same experience in a acoustically perfect concert hall environment, but for people playing onto their iPhones mixed together, I think it came out great, and the kids are fantastic musicians. So go watch Nabucco, the 2020 Tennessee Youth Symphony virtual concert, and enjoy it. And the kids did great. I'm happy to be part of it. My daughter Rose was in the viola section. And thanks again to Miss Anna Maria Miller, the conductor, and enjoy the video. Thank you.